between a dead past image and a current live image, and that is just an interesting moment. So even if your technology's old and like kind of not as cool as the Olympics or whatever, at least I think that it's doing something more when it's with a person, when it's with a body. That's what I think it does.
I just wanted to say, at the beginning you opened this, I think Sarah had a remark that this enhances our awareness of something. And by putting these things side by side, I think we're talking about dance and technology as these things. I'm worried a little bit that dance drops out of the conversation. I have the same concern as this gentleman that maybe there are more sophisticated ways to talk about dance. So that's something I think we all have to be a little bit vigilant about. In a certain sense, I believe Sheldon said, oh, we use our own nervousness around the idea that we're using the technology to mask our insecurities about choreography. So what I find kind of haunting the room is this ghost of dance. And what are the implications about the body? Because now we're having people who sit at a keyboard all day and think they're dancing, right? And I'm not making a judgment about that. I'm just saying that the idea of dance might be shifting. And I wonder, in terms of what this enhances our awareness of, at the same time, it must diminish our awareness of something else, okay? So I think if I have to learn all these new technologies, when am I going to get a technique class in? For one thing, is a concern that I have. And then I do apologize because we do have to go, but I think this...
You won't hear our
No, we will on the podcast. That's the exciting thing about being here and not being here. I just think that the technology issue isn't really new if we think about electric lights and the demystification, right? So all of these new tools that we have are bringing up the same old problems in terms of representation. But I do think that, again, we want to come back to this question of what is, while our awareness of certain things might be enhanced, what are we diminishing our awareness of? And my own personal anxiety around that is we do get commentary about technology, but maybe we're losing sight of some important social questions that non-technology might bring us closer to. And I just, in closing, say that Wendell Berry, poet, says, you know, if it's a revolutionary idea to use a computer, it's an even more revolutionary idea not to, right? So, and we have Suzuki doing shows that are totally based on human energy. So maybe there's a way to do green performance. I don't know. But still, you know, engage with all of these questions because they're worth engaging with. Wow.
Wow.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, wow, thanks. You're leaving now, right?
I'll catch the podcast. Really, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So we're at this moment in the evening where we want to quit this formal conversation while we're all excited about it because we have wine and snacks. And this is only the first part of the evening. The second part is when you all get to drink and eat with us and talk with each other. Yeah, well, now you know.
You're going to miss out.
And talk with each other about what you've heard this evening. So I want to close up really quickly with a couple things. One of them is that I want to pass the mic to each of the artists to hear briefly what they're doing next with this technology, because I want to give, especially David and Sarah, a chance to plug their shows, which are coming up here at Counterpulse in a few short weeks. So talk to us about what's now, what's next for you.
Plug time. You might see these cards around. I'm working on a show called My Hot Lobotomy. It's about a guy who gives himself a lobotomy to forget everything he knows about global warming. It's a musical. It is, of course. Opens here October 17th. We'll be here 3 weeks, but come early, please. Like on October 17th, please come. And two great performers, Aaron Mealing-Stewart and Spencer Evans, and choreography by Sarah Shelton-Mann. It's going to be sick. Come check it out. It stars a boombox, too. I'm working with cassette on this one.
That's hot. I have a show coming up here October 10th through 12th, the weekend before David's show opens, and it's called Hyper Real. So for those of you who know that term, oh wait, I'm taking a poll as part of the project. Raise your hand if you aren't familiar with that term. Great. Okay. For those of you who do know, it's very related to some of the stuff that we're talking about. And then for those of you who don't know, you should go home and wiki it tonight. So you can Google it and find out what it is. Anyway, this is the first kind of major work in progress of what will become an evening-length piece that will premiere over a year from now. So it's only 3 nights, October 10th through 12th. And it's very much about my relationship to these kinds of questions, both in my life and in my work, and the sort of Mobius strip relationship between technology and media and hyper-reality and the body and embodiment, and the kind of questions about, is there a difference between embodied, lived, mortal, physical experience and imagined experience or virtual experience or simulated experience, is one of the questions in it. So.
I'm going to be directing with Sheldon. We're doing a one-evening thing. Cal Performances is presenting it, and it's in conjunction with the Merce Cunningham residency, and we're putting on a happening based on the 9 evenings that the Bell Laboratories did with Rauschenberg and Frank Stella and stuff in the 1960s, 1966. So we're going to be basing this kind of happening on that mashup of technologists, artists, and designers, and it's going to be very revealing of technologists will be live and part of the performance, and students are doing Cunningham phrases, and there's 5 different professors working with their various technologies, and Ken Goldberg doing robotic sensing movement cameras and teleimmersion and all kinds of things happening in this big event. So that's November 14th from 5 to 7. It's a durational performance at Cal Performances.
I don't have anything else covered. Although I feel really compelled to be able to respond to what he was talking about, but maybe I'll just talk about that once I've had a glass of wine. Because I mean, you know, it's easy to sort of say facetiously that we use technology to hide the fact that we have insecurities about our dance making, but the reality is that I've been a dancer since I was a wee little person, and that's really the bulk of the vast bulk of my training, and the technology stuff has been very recent. It's actually just an extension of getting to a certain point in my dancing life where I feel like I can't help but want to, I mean, I think we can carry this discussion out into the world, but I feel compelled, especially in this day and age, to want to find ways of extending my body through technology. I can't help it. Yeah. I can't help. I love technology. I freaking love my iPhone. I love holding. I take it with me everywhere. I'm not incredibly proud of it necessarily, but I love it. It's like I bond with this thing. It's sort of pathetic in some ways, but it's real. It's real, and I think that's kind of what drives this extending from my dancing life into this other planet.
All right, so we're going to bring out the wine and pretzels, and we're hoping that you will continue this conversation with us. We want to know about the embodied question. We want to know about hyperreal.
And speaking of technology and participation, Counterpulse has a blog where you can post comments. So if you have anything to say to any of the panelists or to any of the questions or comments that you brought up as audience members, please go to counterpulse.org/blog and tell us what you think. Thank you so much. Thank you to our co-host dancers group. Come back to Counterpulse.